Hello and welcome to Emerald Ash Borer 102, How Does EAB Kill Ash Trees? I'm Kat Bethea with the Oregon Department of Forestry's Urban and Community Forestry Program. Let's get started. This presentation is intended to provide the viewer with a brief description of what species of trees are susceptible to EAB, how will humans be impacted, how the trees are killed, and what you can do to slow the spread. This is part 2 in a video series. For part 1, please navigate to the end of the slideshow and click on the link below. What does EAB attack? Emerald ash borer is highly specific about which tree species it will attack and kill. It will only attack members of the Acaceae family, which includes all species of ash, olive, and white fringe trees. Since EAB is an introduced pest, North American and European ash trees have little to no natural resistance to EAB, and all 16 species of ash native to North America are at risk, whether planted intentionally or growing naturally. Olive trees are not native to Oregon, but are part of a growing industry here. White fringe trees come from the eastern United States and can be planted as a decorative tree, but are rare to find in Oregon. Other tree species, including mountain ash, are not true ash and are not hosts for EAB. Oregon ash, or Fraxinus latifolia, is the only ash tree native to Oregon. It is most commonly found in wetland and riparian habitats, especially those west of the Cascade Mountains, and its range runs from central California to the Canadian border. Because of its tolerance for a wide variety of soil types and its ability to handle both water in the winter and dry conditions in the summer, Oregon ash often dominates low-lying habitats where other species can struggle to compete. Unfortunately, we expect to lose upwards of 99% of all Oregon ash throughout the state to EAB. The loss of this significant species will have long-ranging effects on stream temperature, salmon populations, and water quality. There are many species of ash that have been commonly planted in our communities along streets, in parks and schools, and in our backyards. They have been a popular choice for many years because of their ability to provide benefits such as shade, stormwater retention, air pollution removal, and canopy, which decreases heat impacts. Ash trees are typically resistant to drought, heat, other pests and pathogen pressures, and adapt well to urban sites while providing brilliant fall colors. Unfortunately, all of the ornamental species planted in Oregon are highly susceptible to EAB. Some of our popular landscape species include green ash and white ash, which were once common through the eastern states and now are classified as threatened and endangered species after EAB has moved through their native range. Narrowleaf ash and the European ash are also common landscape species. What will this look like in our neighborhoods and communities? A tree can be infested for a few years before the tree begins to show signs of an infestation, but catching EAB early is essential to being able to respond to it. This photo is from 2006 in Toledo, Ohio, showing Neighborhood Street. This street is well shaded and lined with mature trees. This, however, is a monoculture. All of these trees are ash. Now let's see what happens when EAB spread to this area. And here's the same street 3 years later. The ash are dead and must be removed. If caught early, there are actions you can take to reduce damage, like treating your tree. We'll talk more about these actions in a future video, or you can visit Oregon EAB for more information. However, the impact that EAB is going to have on our urban forests is huge, with significant costs to both cities and landowners. There are direct costs for response, like treatment, removals, and replanting, but also indirect costs and impacts, such as reduced shade, increased heat, increased air and water pollution, increases in crime, and decreases in physical and mental health. EAB will have as dramatic as an effect in natural areas as it does in our communities. On the left are images from the Anacostia watershed of the same stretch of river in Maryland, taken just a few years apart. The top photo is what the river looked like before EAB, and the bottom only a few years after. On the right is a property in the Willamette Valley in Oregon, where EAB was discovered in 2024. Without the shade created by the ash trees, soil, air, and water temperatures will increase. Flooding and soil erosion becomes more likely, and invasive species like reed canary grass and blackberry are able to more easily establish and thrive. So how does EAB kill trees? Well, throughout the summer, trees collect energy through their leaves, transform it into sugars, and store it in their roots. In the spring, trees send those sugars, along with nutrients from the soil, back to the branches to create new leaves. EAB kills trees by interrupting this process. The phloem and cambium layers are located directly under the layer of outer bark, and these layers are rich with energy and nutrients, and the EAB larva feeds on this layer, interrupting the flow of nutrients. You can imagine the cambium layer as a series of straws used to transport these sugars up and down the tree, and the feeding larva as cutting the straws. The tree is no longer able to transport sugar and nutrients through the damage. Ash trees can survive a few damaged straws or a little bit of damaged cambium, but eventually so many EAB larvae feed on the tree that it can no longer survive. Most infested trees will die in 3 to 7 years after infestation. We'll dive into some signs of EAB in a later video, but each larva creates a single gallery, which have a distinctive S-shape pattern, which the photo on the left illustrates. The photo on the right shows numerous galleries located directly under the outer bark. Why is EAB so devastating to ash trees? First, because nearly all the damage to the tree is done under the bark, it can be sometimes very difficult to detect EAB and respond early in an infestation. Another reason is due to the rapid growth of a population of EAB. Here's a diagram going through the first 3 years of infestation. The top photo is the number of eggs laid per year, and the bottom photo is a view underneath the bark. The first year, a single female is going to come and lay 80 eggs on the tree. Female EAB can lay 40 to 80 eggs a year, and sometimes up to 200. We're going to use 80 as our example. Since EAB eggs and larvae have a high success rate, most of those eggs will survive to adulthood, and 80 adults emerge the following year. That year, those 80 adults will lay over 3,200 eggs. In the second year of the infestation, we've already started to see a significant amount of damage underneath the bark, all from a single adult female. The EAB population growth continues. By year 3, you can see the tree health impacts in the canopy. With over 5 million EAB by year 4, our tree has taken significant damage to the cambium layer. 5 years after finding an ash tree, a single adult female has produced over 200 million offspring. At this point, the tree is dead, or very close to it, and the last generation of adults will leave and go find nearby trees and new infestations to infest. 90% of adult EAB female will lay their eggs on the tree that it came out of, and almost 10% will lay their eggs on neighboring trees. A very small percentage will fly off and infest a new area. On their own, EAB can spread 2 to 4 miles per year, but a single adult can travel up to 10 miles a year. However, these pests are often spread much greater distances through the transportation of infested material by people. Much like with managing wildfire, everyone has a role to play in helping slow the spread of EAB. The primary vector for the spread of EAB is the transport of firewood, so spread the message far and wide. Don't move firewood. Please buy or collect firewood close to where you intend to burn it, and the closer the better. Use your firewood on site and don't take it home with you. Next, the earlier EAB is discovered, the more options there are to manage it. You can use this QR code or visit Oregon EAB to learn how to identify ash trees and the signs and symptoms of an EAB infestation. Finally, if you think you have found EAB on ash, report it at the Oregon Invasive Species Council hotline. Thank you for watching this video and learning about how emerald ash borer kills ash trees. Please visit Oregon EAB to find the next video in the series, EAB 103, How to Identify and Report EAB, and find more information on emerald ash borer. Thank you.